we are also starting off this video with grits. Are you surprised? Because I'm not. Only today, I'm trying a new combination. So normally I'm a savory grits kind of person. I just like salt, pepper, butter. But I had this left over. It's kind of like a cream cheese, but cheddar. So I guess you're supposed to use it as like a dip or a spread. My mind immediately went to like a cheddar chive combination. And it gets just as creamy as if you were to use like a slice of vegan cheese. And if you don't have a product like this, don't worry guys, you can always find substitutions and mimic for texture. So for instance, a substitution you can make would even just be something like oat milk. And then you can add some spices to it to give you just like a savory, somewhat cheesy flavor. And I also had that with the jam that I made in the last video. So if you guys want to see how I make grape jam, check out episode 6. And of course, everything will be linked down below. And also from the previous video, I am using the butterfly PET ice cubes that I made. So I first started off with a lemon syrup. And if you guys have watched my previous videos, then you know that I like the tea with this like lemon combination anyway. So this was just me coming up with like a different way to enjoy it. So essentially I'm having a lemonade with butterfly PET instead of butterfly PET with lemon. And again, if you guys remember those quinoa pancakes, then you know that that quinoa flour had a very distinct flavor that could not be hidden by any of the ingredients that I put in it. Not the maple syrup, not the vanilla, not even the cinnamon. And while I did successfully mask the flavor in the brownies that I made last week, I just wanted pancakes. So my attempt at doing that was to add sweet potato. And I'm not even gonna make you wait. The verdict on these is that, yeah, it still didn't work. And also it made the pancakes even denser, which was definitely not something I was going for. But if you did see my video where I used the quinoa flour to make waffles and put that on a sandwich, that totally works because you're eating it with other components. It's not just about the waffle or the pancake. So that flavor actually complements the other elements that you might have like on a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, vegan of course. I didn't realize how much of a problem this was for me, but yeah, I'm having soup. And here I'm actually making a bootleg chicken noodle soup because I pretty much didn't have any ingredients to even make chicken noodle soup, but decided I was anyway. So this is me using like a soy-based chicken. And to that I would normally add, you know, some vegetables like carrots, but I didn't have any. So I just seasoned the chicken with sage and parsley. And then I also used a no chicken vegetable broth. And then I actually used the udon noodles, but cut them up into smaller pieces. The next morning I had a very simple smoothie. I believe it was like a spirulina. And because it was blue and I had blueberries, I felt very inspired to just put those at the bottom of my glass. I mean, because I have no other excuse other than I miss boba. So that is actually a project that I'm thinking about taking on, is just making my own, because why not? What else am I doing? And this is a pistachio matcha. So I again used the pistachio milk that I made in last week's video. When I was finally ready to eat something, I still didn't really feel like cooking. So I turned to the classic. And also I just really wanted to try one because this jam turned out so good. And I also added a little bit of sea salt to my peanut butter because it just brings out the sweetness. And who doesn't love a sweet and savory combination, you know? And then the devil, I mean, my boyfriend bought me some cake. So I had that. The next morning, I started off my day with some grapefruit tea, but this time I added cinnamon, which let me tell you, was very pleasant. And if I were drinking hot beverages, would probably try again. But the way this weather is set up, yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. And then for breakfast, I had a bagel, which let me tell you, this used to be one of my go-tos. If you've ever had vegan cream cheese before, you know it may be good, it may be creamy, but it's an experience in itself. That is not actual cream cheese. So pairing it with a little tomato, onion, and cucumber gives you just like that savoriness and a little crunch. And it just makes the bagel much more enjoyable, kind of like a sandwich. I like it. And I feel like this is kind of one of those universal plant-based recipes because chances are if you're vegan, you've definitely seen this sandwich before. Then later on, using that last bit of chicken that I had left over. I love how I'm just like using air quotes that you guys cannot see. Yeah, I'm using chicken as in CHIK'N, sauteing that with a little bit of onion because I can't not. As a matter of fact, I wonder if we should start counting how many times I use onions in these videos because I will find a way. But anyway, what I'm going for here is like a buffalo chicken, but really I didn't have like real buffalo sauce. I just had like some type of hot sauce with like garlic, and that had to do. To make buffalo sauce, literally all you need is just butter and hot sauce. Like that's it. Added it to my pitas, which I used for the pizzas last week, and that was lunch. And then I just had some hibiscus tea, which was chilling in the refrigerator overnight. And I added some orange slices because that's like my favorite combination. They just marry so well together. Match made in heaven. I also tried a new yogurt this day, which was like a vanilla bean. And although the texture was very different for me, I thought that the flavor would pair nicely with maybe like some peach. It was really giving me those peaches and cream vibe, you know? Even added a little bit of like whipped cream. And I guess I caught myself trying to do something different. So I just added a couple nuts instead of doing like actual granola, but then changed my mind and then proceeded to accidentally dump the entire container into my yogurt. And speaking of that hibiscus and orange combination that I love so much, this day I also decided to brew some more. But I decided to do like a sangria inspired, and I put sliced oranges and even a cinnamon stick, and again let that infuse in the refrigerator. However, if you are going to try this, let me just tell you right now, don't use the entire cinnamon stick for only 16 ounces of fluid. If you're going to use that much cinnamon, make sure that you do a bigger batch, because while I didn't mind it, you are going to get a very strong presence. And while we're on the topic of beverages, I realized I never show you guys when I'm actually drinking water. And this is my like water bottle that I use in the house. So this is, I think, is like 42 ounces. So I try to fill this up twice a day. And that is how I gauge whether or not I am staying hydrated. And then for whatever meal this was, I decided to make some breadcrumbs because I was not freezing my bread and therefore it was getting like kind of stale. And to do that, I just added like a little bit of butter. You can totally do oil. And I also added just a few herbs. I think I just used like sweet basil, but you can definitely a full Italian blend. Then I pop that in the oven until they're just like, you know, golden brown, I believe at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Took some more pasta sauce and tomato paste and mix those together to make a pizza sauce. If you just use like marinara, then it's gonna have more water in it basically. And we definitely want it to be thicker and not too runny because then your pizza crust can start to get, you know, soggy. And this time, as you guys can see, I'm adding a different brand of vegan mozzarella, which is much softer. It has a higher water content. So I just break off a piece of this, roll it into a little ball, and then flatten it. And that's how I make the quintessential circles. Don't forget about your breadcrumbs. Again, you can take these out when they reach your desired crispness, so feel free to taste test them. And now we're going to make a vegan Parmesan, which is literally the simplest recipe ever. Literally all you need is cashews, nutritional yeast, and whatever spices you want to add. I just go for garlic, onion, done. And now you can sprinkle that over your salad. You can put it on your pizza. You can put it on your pasta. You add this to anything. And then I actually brew my tea leaves more than once. So this is just me adding a little bit of the butterfly pea tea to the hibiscus because I wanted to see if the two would complement each other. And I just had that as a hot tea, again, with a little bit of lemon juice. The next morning, I made some carrot juice, which I expected to yield a lot more juice than this, but I don't know what I was expecting because I literally had 4 of the babiest carrots I've ever seen. But that's okay because I was actually just using this for a carrot cake smoothie. So to that, I added some almond milk, frozen bananas, dates, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla extract, and blend. And I don't know if I was just really hungry this day or if I just made it extra special because y'all, this was fire. And I have shared this recipe with you guys before on Instagram. So again, if you're not following me there, you might want to be because I usually post like bonus recipes more so before I started filming these what I eat in a week. But I promise I will show more behind the scenes there. And I had to run errands this day, so I wound up picking up some pretzels. And I was actually going to plate this and have a little bit of fun with it, but then decided, nah, I'm hungry. I'm just gonna eat it. And when I steamed those sweet potatoes for the pancakes, I actually had some leftover puree. So I turned that into a cheese sauce by just adding some cashews, oat milk, nutritional yeast, and spices. And you can use whatever plant-based milk you want to. Added that to some giant elbow pasta that I found in my cupboard. And if you saw my last mac and cheese recipe, you already know I like to top it with something. So this I just added some seitan bacon to with some fresh black pepper, and it was delish. For breakfast, I had some Blue Lotus tea, and while I was waiting for that to brew, I just said screw it and I had a chocolate bar. And then once it was done, I added that tea to some grapefruit syrup, if you can even really call it that, because I mean, look how chunky it is, it's floating. And again, I eat quite late in the day, so for technically lunch, I just had like these peanut butter sandwiches. And again, I just used my homemade jam with some peanut butter, a little sea salt. And because I used to be raw, this is actually how I used to eat peanut butter and jelly before I started eating bread again. But when I was still vegetarian, one thing I used to like to do was to make grilled cheese sandwiches on actually sweet breads. So I would use cinnamon raisin toast and like Munster cheese so that I would get that like sweet and savory juxtaposition. So that's what I did here by using that sweet potato French bread. And I put this vegan cheese that's actually kind of spicy. It's like a tomato cayenne. In fact, I was actually FaceTiming my mom as I made this and she got really jealous. And I told you guys that spicy tofu from the green bowl that I made a couple videos ago, it was really good. So I actually got it again, but this time I just put it over some sauteed kale. Added some pumpkin seeds. So that was dinner, as well as the end of this video. So if you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe because we definitely have more of these coming. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a kitchen tour, pantry tour, and also telling you guys about how I went vegan.